one of the things that was funny was I couldn't sleep one night, and I'm on Google, and pops this article on the shortage of military chaplains. And I'm reading this article, and it's midnight, and I'm like, God, you're too funny, because it's an old article. It's not a new article. It's like 3 years old when I'm reading it. And I had read it before, but it didn't hit me the way that it hit me that night. So I started looking for seminaries, and kind of wrapping my head around the fact that I need to go back to school again. I've been going to school I had got my bachelor's in business management. I had got my MBA, and I was on pretty good, with this being a guard life, a pretty good civilian track for management in Geico. Like, I'd been working for Geico for 10 or 11 years at this point, and managing people for most of the time. And I had this track that I was gonna, I wanted to be a director at some point. And he was basically like, no, that's not where we're going. So I press a couple buttons to enroll in seminary. Just the information button, bing, and I'm like, and then they start calling you, as schools do, and they're like, hey, you want to know about it? And the first one that called me just wasn't a good fit for me, which I was fine with, because I'm like, see, I knew it wasn't going to be a fit. And in the midst of these schools calling me that week, I'm also invited to go to the Texas border, because in Texas, we're back and forth on going to the border, not going to the border, going to the border. So I get told I need to go to the border for a month. And so I'm like packed, but it kept changing. Like, you're going to the border, you're not, the whole week. And then I go into the drill weekend. And this is like round 6 of going to the border. And I get there. And by this point, I had a conversation with the trainer that I was training for the show, and told him, hey, I might go to the border. And so he dropped me as a client, because he wanted to fill that space. So no longer doing bodybuilding at that moment. Like, I don't have a trainer. And then I get to drill, and they said, oh, you're not going to the border. And I was like, oh, okay. So that's interesting. And then I finally answer the phone to Liberty, which is where I ended up getting my master's of divinity. And they tell me about the program. I'm like, okay, this is more affordable, a little bit more flexible for what I need to do. Like, they're not needing I did everything online, so I didn't have to go there in person, which was important, because it's like I'm balancing at this point, like, kids, now a seminary degree, full-time work, and a drill weekend. So I'm like, how is this going to work? So anyway, I say yes, like, I want to do it, but I'm going to wait 4 or 5 months in my head. This is the plan.